For years, Americans have been told that Fort Knox holds over 4,581 tons of gold, locked away securely in one of the most protected vaults on the planet. It's been the ultimate symbol of U.S. financial strength, backed by the military, Apache helicopters, and a 20-ton steel door. Sounds safe, right? But there's one problem. No independent audit has been done since 1953. That's nearly 70 years without a full check. Imagine if your bank said, "We're holding your money, but you can't look inside." Would you trust them? Of course not. Now here's the thing. People like Elon Musk are asking the tough questions. Musk, known for his transparency and outspoken nature, isn't just your average tech billionaire. He's calling for an independent audit of Fort Knox. Yes, Elon Musk, the man who revolutionized the auto and space industries, is pushing for the U.S. government to open up Fort Knox and show the world exactly what's inside. And he's not alone. Senator Rand Paul and even Dr. Ron Paul are also demanding answers. So what happens if the audit reveals the gold is gone? Buckle up, because this could shake the world economy to its core. Elon Musk has never been one to shy away from challenging the status quo, and when it comes to transparency, he's made it clear. He wants answers about Fort Knox. Musk has publicly stated that an audit of Fort Knox is long overdue. In fact, he's even suggested that the government allow a live-streamed walkthrough of the vaults. He believes that if the United States is truly committed to transparency, they should show the world that their gold reserves are real, not just a symbol of financial strength. The call for an audit is not just about curiosity, it's about the global implications. If Fort Knox's gold is found to be missing, it could send shockwaves through the global financial system. The United States dollar is, in part, propped up by the belief that the United States government has the gold reserves to back it. Without that gold, the credibility of the dollar could collapse. Countries like Russia and China, who have been steadily building up their gold reserves, are already positioning themselves to take advantage of such a situation. If the gold is gone, the trust in the United States dollar could vanish almost overnight, and the world's financial system could go into a tailspin. Now imagine if the unthinkable happens. Fort Knox is found to be empty. The consequences would be catastrophic, not just for the United States, but for the entire global financial system. First, let's talk about the immediate fallout. Gold prices would skyrocket. Investors would flock to gold, seeing it as a safer investment compared to a now shaky US dollar. The value of the dollar itself would plunge, and countries that hold large amounts of US debt would begin to dump it, fearing further devaluation. But it's not just about the markets. The global confidence in the US financial system would also be shattered. Nations around the world would begin to question everything the US has said about its economic strength, and that opens the door for countries like Russia and China, who have been quietly building up massive gold reserves, to step in. These nations are not just collecting gold for the sake of it. They're preparing for a future where the US dollar is no longer the world's reserve currency. In fact, in the last decade, Russia's gold reserves have increased by an astonishing 500%, and China, despite keeping their gold reserves somewhat secret, is estimated to have over 1,000 tons of gold. These countries are positioning themselves for a potential global financial reset. If Fort Knox is empty, these nations could push harder for a new gold-backed global trade system, further undermining the US's position as the world's economic leader. This is why Elon Musk and others are calling for an audit. They're concerned that if the gold is gone, the US could lose its dominant role in the world economy. The fallout would be felt worldwide, and it might take years, if not decades, for the global financial system to recover. Let's say for a moment that Fort Knox isn't empty. What if the gold is still there, but it's just not good enough to meet modern international standards? Here's where things get tricky. The gold held in Fort Knox hasn't been independently verified in decades. It's been reported that a significant portion of the gold in Fort Knox is stored in the form of coin bars made from melting down old gold coins. The issue with these coin bars is that they often contain impurities, such as copper, silver, and platinum, which lower the purity of the gold. In fact, the purity of most of Fort Knox's gold is believed to be around 90%, while international standards for gold used in trade are typically 99.5% or higher. This raises a big question. What if much of the gold in Fort Knox doesn't meet these high purity standards? What if it's not suitable for international trade? That could cause major problems for the US economy, especially in the context of global financial relations. In 2013 and 2014, when Germany repatriated some of its gold from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, a significant portion of the gold had to be melted down and recast because it didn't meet modern standards. If the same thing happens at Fort Knox, it could raise doubts about the real value of the U.S. gold reserves. And that brings us back to the question that Musk and others are asking: why hasn't there been a comprehensive independent audit of the gold in Fort Knox? The U.S. government regularly conducts internal reviews, but those aren't enough. If the gold isn't high quality or if it's missing entirely, the world needs to know, and the time for transparency is long overdue. We have the right to know what's really inside Fort Knox. The gold in those vaults is supposed to be backing the United States dollar, the world's reserve currency, but without a thorough independent audit, how can anyone trust that it's actually there? More importantly, how can the world trust the United States financial system if it's hiding something as important as this? Transparency isn't just about curiosity, it's about maintaining global financial stability. If the United States is hiding something this significant, the markets will react. Investors and foreign governments alike will start to question the legitimacy of the United States dollar. The entire financial system could be at risk, and it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. This is why figures like Elon Musk, Senator Rand Paul, and Dr. Ron Paul are demanding answers. If Fort Knox holds the gold it claims, then let's see it. If it doesn't, the world deserves to know, because whether the gold is there or not, the global financial system is watching, and so should you. So what happens next? If Fort Knox is emptied, or worse, if it's exposed as a fraud, the United States economy could be on the brink of a disaster. But if the audit shows the gold is there, and it's up to international standards, it could put to rest many of the conspiracy theories that have persisted for years. Either way, the truth is coming, and when it does, we'll all be watching. The question is, what will we find? Now, if you found this video valuable and you want to diversify your investments beyond traditional stocks and bonds, I have just the thing for you. Even though I believe that investing in a low-cost index fund is the best long-term investment for the average Joe, the benefits of solid physical gold are hard to deny. I think of physical gold as insurance against unpredictable times, and I'm not the only one. In 2023, central banks added over 1,000 tons of gold to their reserves, the second highest annual purchase in American history. And in 2024, central bank got another 290 tons of gold in just the first 3 months of the year. If the biggest banks in the world are buying tons of gold, I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I found a company that allows ordinary Americans to own and securely store physical bars of gold as part of their IRA account. The best part is that they're giving away a free guide to teach you all about investing in solid physical gold. If you want to learn more about how gold can protect your retirement savings, just click the link in the description to receive a completely free gold IRA guide.